Johnny and Daniel thinking along the same lines? Apocalypse. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka GeekXX Chic, and we're back with the reaction to Cobra Kai Season 3. We're now on to Episode 8, which is called The Good, The Bad, and The Badass. So in the last episode, we had Daniel spend some quality time with Samantha and finally get to the heart of why she's been acting a little off lately. And the two of them had a really beautiful moment around the trauma she experienced from her fight in Season 1, but also just helping her understand where she wants to go going forward as far as karate and balance and finding her equilibrium and all of it, all of the craziness. And then on the other side, we saw that Johnny has decided he wants to start up Cobra Kai again, but he can't because the name is now taken over by Kreese, and he came up with his own dojo, only to have Kreese crash it with some of his new students and basically try to force Johnny back in the fold. But thankfully, Johnny stood his ground. But of course, now that means that Johnny is now on the outside of Kreese and his students. So now both Miyagi-Do and what was it now? Eagle Fang Karate have Kreese as an enemy. They now have a common enemy, and we all know, as the expression goes, the enemy of my enemy is the guy that I don't quite want to kill, right? Like, I think, well, that's the way it goes. So I'm about ready to jump into this episode, but before I do, if this is your first time to my channel, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. If you like it here, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button. It really helps out with the algorithm, which helps me helps me out a lot. And if you've been here before, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming back. Hopefully today you'll hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when I do more reactions to this show, as well as many other cool shows. That goes for the newbies as well. We would love to have you join the fam. All right, that out of the way, guys, let's get into the episode right about now.
The reason we learn karate is
to show the world that you're not a bunch of pansy
Fight
ass
like an eagle.
Being a badass doesn't mean being an asshole.
Really?
The goal is to win at all costs.
I love the philosophies between the three dojos and how they just get more and more degenerative.
if you have hate in your heart, then you have already lost.
Amen.
You gotta swoop down like an eagle. Grab them with your claws and sink your fangs into them.
Talons, but we'll go with it.
Finish it.
Oh,
God. For good.
The fact that none of these kids are worried about the fact that, you know, Kreese is telling them to basically murder people. Oh, how nice of you to show up. It's a little late.
What did you think would happen when you summoned that devil back to Earth?
Kreese is my...
Truth, though.
As usual, I'm gonna have to be the one that's gonna clean up your mess.
I clean up my own messes.
No, you run away from your messes, Johnny.
You never once considered that maybe you should think first.
You know what I'm thinking now?
Yeah, I got a pretty good idea.
You guys done? This is supposed to be about Robbie.
Seriously?
Exactly.
You always have a home in Miyagi-Do.
Worth me.
Both of you. Yeah. Stay out of my life.
Like, I don't blame him. Why are we bringing up karate right now? Why did we have to say Miyagi-Do, Daniel? You could have just said, I'm here for you. I understand that you're mad, understandably, but if you ever want to talk, if you ever need someone to talk to, be there. I'm here.
You're not my friends anymore.
She's like, you just got 10 times hotter. Literally, did you see it in her eyes? She's like, you're not friends with him anymore. Hi, I'm Sam. Remember me?
It's a pleasure.
What the hell is this?
Jasmine?
We're just,
You know why? Because nerds
work.
finish last, okay? As in, they get the girl.
101% in love.
Yeah, I could tell.
love conquers all.
I don't know about love in that
Yes, it does.
particular case. Might be a little bit of lust. But eventually some girls are smart enough to realize that even if it doesn't always come in the most perfect packaging, a guy who's actually a genuinely nice guy, greater than all the pretty boys.
Why are we holding our board meetings at the rec center when you have the enchanted tiki room out here?
Facts.
Ass face, you're next.
Does my nickname gotta carry over from the previous dojo?
You wanna be penis breath?
I'll take
Ass
it.
face is fine.
It's okay if you can't do the things you could do before. Nobody's expecting you to be your old self.
Yet.
They canceled the All Valley.
They did what?
They canceled it.
I mean, people falling over balconies and ish.
We even had State Farm on board as a sponsor.
Name drop. Thank you, State Farm, for sponsoring this season of Cobra Kai.
That was good. Did you grow your own lemons? Or?
It's Crystal Light.
Right? Like, relax. He's just feeling the zenness of the garden, okay? His taste buds are awake.
Maybe this is a blessing in disguise.
Ooh,
Yeah,
what?
that's supposed to be. Also, not like you're
Johnny and Daniel thinking along the same lines? Apocalypse.
Look, you already proved you can win.
And I need to prove it again.
To who?
You said you'd always be on my side.
He is.
You know.
Just as scared you might get hurt. That's very valid. Yeah, it's kind of that hard balance between like, when do you like let go and let the kids kind of go out there and make their own mistakes? But, you know, Miguel was in a coma, so he should allow people to just take some time to deal with that.
Everyone else got to go back to normal, but here we are eating shit. You're still pretending to be something you're not.
What, not a piece of crap? Bye, Tori. You need to meditate and pray, sis. Whenever Tori does that, it's so annoying because she just victim blame, right? She victimizes herself over and over and over again. Nothing is ever her fault. All of her decisions are based on her hard life. No, sis, that is not the way it works. You are in juvie because you made poor choices. Stop making poor choices and maybe you'll stop going to juvie. That simple.
But I know he won't get hurt again because you're his sensei.
Oh, those inspirational words. All of Johnny's other issues aside, he really does just need someone in his corner. He's never really had that. Doesn't excuse all of his mistakes, of course, but it's kind of the step that he needs, like the push to stay motivated to be a good person, because he's just never had anyone encourage him to do that. Positive reinforcement works.
Fight?
Oh, just make out already.
I don't need notes. Shoot from there.
This is gonna be a disaster.
You're right about that. Of course, this blockhead is here.
By teaching our children strength and discipline through karate. I was devastated.
And assault, and battery, and murderous intent. Let's give them the full picture, Chris.
Why are my students being penalized because of the violence perpetrated by dojos like Miyagi-Do?
Now, wait just 1 minute.
Daniel, don't take the bait.
You leave my daughter out of this, you piece of shit.
Okay.
Ma'am, please.
To say that because
Johnny's like, yeah.
Okay, but that man is a lunatic.
Okay, but you didn't
That's
look
a
very
person, bro.
sane there. Why does everyone take Chris's bait?
John Lawrence, Eagle Fang Karate. This man.
Daddy, like, what?
Sit down. All of you.
The fact this is three grown men, over 50, all of them. It's just like, wow.
We are very happy for your recovery,
They're
young
like-
man. But I'm afraid you don't understand.
Yes, he does.
Excuse me, is there no order in this court? I know it's not a court, but come on.
Sometimes the scars you can't see are the ones that hurt the most.
He's like, that's my baby girl. Look how articulate she is.
We needed to show the bullies of the world that we're not afraid.
Talking to you, old man.
To give everyone the chance to show what they can do. To fight.
Y'all should have left this to the kids. You see how the future is bright?
And you're willing to sign waivers stating that the city is not liable?
That's all it comes down. You could have just said that from the beginning, miss. That's all you need to say. Just make sure you don't come to the city for this. And honestly, the hypocrisy that they would be upset about a karate tournament when y'all be literally issuing firearms at Walmart is hilarious. Hilarious.
To the All Valley tournament.
Is he allowed back on the premises?
I seem to remember flipping you on the ground with surprisingly little effort.
Right. Not to mention, aren't you still healing from a coma and a severe back injury? Maybe not. Maybe no. Although we know that you don't really want to fight. Well, aren't you two, darling? Of course.
It's not what you think.
It is.
Now I know why you stopped writing.
I stopped writing because you never answered.
Exactly.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Okay, you know what?
Robbie!
She's turned on you.
You two deserve each other.
Try not to gloat, Miguel. Ugh, poor Robbie. He shouldn't have started it. He shouldn't have started it. But that kid has been through so freaking much. But again, he also took that the wrong way. Of course, Sam was going to stand in between them. I mean, come on. He didn't need to start a fight in that moment.
Hey, Tommy. Is it too late?
For what, exactly? Do you want to talk?
I heard what happened at the meeting.
You should have seen him.
Yeah, this is just an excuse. She's like, listen, I have an itch. You have what I need to scratch it. And I've been feeling you these days, so chop chop. Why are you still dressed? Yes, I'm like, let's cut through it. Thank you, Miss Carmen. She's like, look, it's been a minute. This TV, Johnny, just invest in books. I know you can't, sorry, you don't read well, but for real, that TV's been through it. Oh, Robbie.
Sensei Chris?
I hate this, but I understand it fully. It hurts. It hurts so much. All right, guys, that was episode 8 of season 3, which was called The Good, the Bad, and the Badass. And this episode really just focused on the 3 very differing philosophies on how to practice karate. As I brought out continuously through this series so far, there's definitely different ways to look at it. There's no one way to do it, but we see here between these 3 that you've got kind of the two extremes, which is like Miyagi-Do, which is very much the pacifist, not pacifist, I should say, the defense at all costs, really trying not to start anything. You got the other extreme, which is Kreese, which is, aggression. And then you got Johnny, who's kind of this interesting mix of the middle where he doesn't want to start the fight or be an asshole, as he says it, but at the same time, he's not really about always being on the defensive either. So I just kind of liked, and the way that they even showed it, in the beginning with the 3 shots, Johnny, and then, Daniel, Johnny, then Kreese, right? Literally extreme right, extreme left, and then the person who's in the middle. Really, really good as far as that symbolism that they put into both visually and also in the philosophies that they showed us at the beginning of the episode. But yes, outside of that, of course, we see that Kreese wanting the All Valley to come back. Kreese, of course, trying to get both Daniel and Johnny riled up because this is what he lives for. Kreese literally has nothing. He has no one. This is what he needs to do to feel important, right? He needs to fight with these other 2 because it's all about mattering. And that's the thing people don't really get sometimes when they see people like Kreese, because they might be like, why is Kreese going out of his way to have his students bully Miyagi-Do or have his students bully Johnny and his students? And especially when, he's got a level of success, why not just keep doing the dojo and growing and doing whatever? And the short answer is that people like Kreese, because they don't have anybody, they need to feel like they matter or they're important. And the only way that they can do that is by getting that negative attention, right? Because the sad reality is that negative attention is still attention, right? Ideally, you want positive attention, but Kreese is so broken in so many ways that negative attention is what he thrives on because it's all he can get from most people. So this fighting, this constantly engaging with the 2 dojos, it's making him feel relevant again. And that's what he's literally just getting high off of right now and has to keep pushing at all costs. And he's using these poor students as his conduit into doing that, which is sad. And of course, yes, there is with Johnny in particular. I know that in his own twisted way, Kreese views him as kind of like a son, the son that he kind of fostered and raised and molded that turned against him, that he would really love to have back. And then of course with Daniel, it's a long-standing feud, right? He feels like Daniel and Mr. Miyagi by extension took everything from him. So there is a long-standing vendetta. But really, like I said, at the heart of it all, we all have motivations for why we do things. And in Kreese's case, it is feeling relevant. And these 2 sadly keep feeding into and falling for his, the games that he plays to get them to react. And like I've said numerous times, both Johnny and Daniel have got to learn to just walk away. Like, let Kreese say whatever. Let Kreese throw his jabs and poke and do all the things he normally does for attention, but don't reward him with said attention. If they would ignore this man, he would have disappeared already. But they can't help themselves. And sadly, Kreese has figured out exactly which buttons to push for both of them. On the kids side of things, we didn't see too much of the students outside of course, Sam and Miguel getting kind of back on the same page. Now that Sam sees that Miguel realizes that the extremes of what used to be I guess we can call it Cobra Kai now because now there's Eagle Fang. But anyways, now that she sees that Miguel finally sees what she was trying to point out to him in previous seasons around the philosophies around Cobra Kai, some of them, and the extremes of it. Now she's like, okay, now we can hang. Now the part of you that was kind of falling into that really dark place, since his accident, we know that Miguel's definitely pulled back from that darkness that Kreese was trying to put into them. And now, of course, they're more on the same wavelength again. And like I said, we all know they never got over each other. So of course, the flirtation is back. And even though they said they're going to be friends, let's be real, like it never really ended between the 2 of them. They were just on an extended pause. But of course, the timing could not be worse because Robbie, the last person he felt like he maybe had out of this original group was Sam. We saw one of the last times we saw Robbie was him looking through his emails and seeing that Sam had emailed him like 100 times. but he never responded. Actually, that's not true. He was about to respond the one time that we saw, but then of course we saw that fight broke out and he didn't get a chance to do it. But even beyond that, I mean, Sam is right. Like, he had plenty of opportunities before that to respond to her. He chose not to because he was pissed, because he was feeling some type of way. And you know me, like, I am partial to Robbie in this show, but I will call out when he's, when he's made a mistake or when he's acting wrong or acting out. And this is one of those cases. Robbie was all in his feelings for the first part of his juvie stint, and it's understandable. Like, I give him the space to be that upset. It sucks. Like, as I've been saying over and over and over again, Robbie's been getting knock after knock after knock, and juvie didn't help. But it was his choice to ignore Sam and to ignore Daniel, even though he knows that they'd never done anything up until that point to hurt him. So he kind of decided to get in his feelings about it. And I said, he's justified in feeling that way, but it was his call. And unfortunately, because he made that decision, I mean, Sam, she has every right to move on, right? She probably just assumed that Robbie didn't want to talk to her anymore, and she didn't want to keep pestering him. So she wasn't in the wrong to pull back and wait for him to actually make a move to talk to her. And sadly, their relationship was very much in its early stages when he went to juvie. So she didn't really owe him anything, especially if he refused to talk to her. But him showing up, especially after all the crap that Tori told him when he went to go at his, his check-in. And of course, he feels like Sam has turned on him. But again, I have a hard time. I know I'm biased, but I see it from Robbie's point of view in the sense of he shouldn't have jumped to that conclusion with Sam, especially after how many times he's been prejudged. But he's just had so many people in his life mess up and just make the wrong call, and his trust in humanity is like this much, after all he's been through already at such a young age. And so unfortunately, I can see why his bias would jump towards thinking that Sam had turned on him, especially because she was with Miguel. And in his mind, Miguel is sort of the source of this whole situation along with Tori. And in a way he was, let's be real, but Miguel got a giant pass because, he did almost die. So fair enough. But, I can see it from Robbie's point of view and why, unfortunately, he acted very poorly in that reunion with Sam. And like I said, she had every right to stand between Miguel and him. I mean, Miguel, as we saw earlier in the episode, he's still not fully healed. Getting into a fight right now would probably just hospitalize him again or possibly send his progress backwards. So that was poor judgment on Robbie's part. Like, dude, you are fresh out of juvie. If you assault someone again, that's definitely a breach of your not parole, but of your release, right? You'll go right back into jail if you do that. And so Sam actually protected him by standing in front of him. But of course, he saw that as a betrayal. And as we saw at the end there, he really feels like he's got absolutely no one. And of course, who else do you go to, right? Kreese is the last person who came to him, who he believes has no reason to hurt him or take anything from him. But sadly, if he took 2 seconds to think about that too, he'd realize that Kreese and his dad and Mr. LaRusso, like, they all have a history and it's not good. And you'd think he'd realize that even Kreese was probably someone who would use him for something. But I think he's just so full of anger and sadness, and mostly anger, actually anger, sadness, and despair, I'd say at the moment, that Kreese's low energy, and by low energy, I mean like low vibrational energy, right? I'm one of those people. Yes, I believe in energies and vibrations, and Kreese has always been at a very low frequency. And right now, Robbie's emotions are all on low frequencies as well. So of course, he's going to go to where there's similar energy. So it's sad that he ended up there, but I think he's unfortunately in the mindset where Kreese loves this. Kreese loves when people are dejected and broken and angry and want to direct it somewhere. And we all know that Kreese is going to use that and mold it into a weapon, which is very sad. But again, Daniel and Johnny are both somewhat responsible for this because they keep putting karate and their rivalry ahead of what's actually going on with Robbie. So anyway, another great episode. I enjoyed watching it a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next video.